All right, according to the plans, the sheeting is going to go all the way out to this. So here's the center of the wing right here. And then here's our first W1 spar and our second our W1 rib and our other W1 rib. So the sheeting is going to go out from the center all the way to the second rib out here, and then all the way back, and then cover, and then on both sides, and then on the bottom also. So it's going to look like here. So it's basically going to be from here to here, then all the way back on both sides. Okay, one thing I have to do is in a couple spots, like right back here toward the trailing edge, there's some epoxy that basically got kind of squished out, and it's sort of filling in this area between the trailing edge spar and sort of the framing for the center section. And if I don't clean that out, then the sheet won't sit in there kind of nicely. It'll be kind of sitting up and not be able to attach very well. So I'm going to go through and just make sure things are can fit straight. So I'm going to go ahead and try to sand out that little area right there with this with my roto tool. Okay, so if you can see, I just kind of cleaned out this kind of, not really a groove, but it's sort of like a little shelf in there. I cleaned that out with the roto tool. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of sanding to try to get it kind of straight, just so we can get that sheeting to sort of fit nicely. Okay, I decided I'm going to go ahead and start on the bottom because it's a little bit, I guess to me it looks like it's a little bit easier to start there. So I'm going to go ahead and put here's the first panel, or the first piece of sheeting. Now I'm going to put it all the way back against the trailing edge. And when I do that, it's a little bit, doesn't quite line up exactly with the center ribs. That's okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and trim it, because I kind of want to keep it as straight as possible, kind of going along the center. So what I could do is I can either line it up along the center like this and then trim the back so that it fits better to kind of get rid of that gap, or I can kind of trim it kind of down the center. I kind of think that going off the back leading edge is the best way to do it, because this is, I'm assuming this is straight back here, whereas maybe some of the ribs, they can be off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and use the back as sort of like my reference frame for doing this. So I'm going to kind of push this up against here. I'm going to mark it out. There's my center. It really isn't that much. Okay, let's kind of trim this. It's just barely. That was easy. And now, so I'm using this rolled up kind of old rag, kind of a towel, just to support it, because it's upside down and the dihedral is, facing upward now. So I want to make sure, I just don't want to put a bunch of pressure on the wing if I don't have to. So, all right, so that looks good like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue this with CA glue. I could use my my regular, just old-fashioned wood glue. That would be okay too. But because this is kind of curving around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of work my way from one side to the other, and I can kind of just lock it down with the CA. I may have to use some of the wood glue on the other side, because I'm not going to be able to glue it from the bottom. Like this one, I can flip over and I can glue it. Once I get it sort of tacked on here, I can flip it over and then glue it nicely. I'm not going to be able to do that on the top because it won't be exposed. So I may end up using like weights or something, and then using the wood glue to do that, because I won't be able to CA it, and I don't want to do a bunch of epoxy. So let's start with this one. Kind of starting with the easy the easy part of it. So because it's curved and because the wing curves, the thing to do when you're doing the sheeting is to get one side kind of pinned down, and then you can kind of just fold it over or kind of push it over and then glue it as you go in that direction. So this one's not very difficult to do that because it's not that much curving, but in the front end, on the leading edge, it is going to curve. So we'll tie it down with the glue, and then we'll just sort of bend it over and glue it as we go. I'm not going to video the entire sheeting process because it would be pretty boring. So I'm just going to get going on this, and then I'll just kind of do most of it off camera. Now I can just go ahead and hit it around the inside of here. And then other methods for doing this is to get like bean bags or like weight bags. Some people use just get like baggies and put like buckshot in it, like lead shot. Or you could use sand, BBs, things like that. So that helps sort of just lay over these things. I'm gonna start by just kind of holding it and doing it this way. And I think for this particular wing, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But for larger wings with little bit different geometries, adding weights and doing things like that is very helpful. Okay, that looks really good. Thing about CAs, if you get too much CA on there, it's sort of wet, and then it doesn't dry as fast. So if you have too much, it won't stick until it sort of kind of burns or goes off. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, so there's our first sheet, and looks pretty good. Okay. And then once this gets sanded and cleaned up, and obviously once it gets covered with the monocoat or whatever covering you're going to use, little imperfections aren't going to matter. Right. Okay, so now I'm getting to this point where I have to kind of cut things to fit better. So we have this little dihedral plywood that's here, and then we have the spar that we have to kind of cut around. That's easy enough. I'm just going to go ahead and fit this where it would go, like this. I'm just going to mark it here, about right there. And it looks like I need to take off, that width right there. Just about right here. I can go ahead and trim that out. I'm just going to eyeball this. About right there. That. It's going to go right just like that there. So we can kind of see how that's going to fit. So that'll go just like that. And then I just have to mark it over here where it's going to meet these guys. I have to mark it on this side, right here. Okay. And that I should be able to cut and give it the fit. Here. Move on me. Okay. So let's see how we did here. Close. I just need to trim a little bit off of here, off of this back side. Okay, looking good here. It's gonna go off this. Yeah, popped it in there. Okay, so it's gonna go just like that. Go ahead and hit this one. That down. You can see how that's popping up because it's curving, so that's okay. We're just gonna hold that down. We'll do the side over here. Keep gluing my gloves onto my plane. All right, so we're just going to work our way across this way. Here. Yeah, just like that. Okay, we'll mark this side. Okay, that looks good right there. All right, let's hit it. Good. Flip it. Boy, stuff comes out of this bottle. I don't like these big bottles of CA. There's just too much. Stuff comes pouring out of there. Okay, so I think you can kind of see the picture, kind of what's going on. So again, once we get to the top, like I was saying, you're not going to be able to do, it's not going to be as easy because I can't access it from the inside. So that'll be a little bit different technique, but we'll go ahead and get the bottom finished up and then we can worry about that next.